It is a hellish scene, a geyser of flame roaring into the sky, sending up a cloud of black smoke that's visible from miles.
Experts from Texas are coming in to figure out a way to put the fire out. It was purposely set on fire when the well blew out. The fire makes the gas being released less poisonous than it would be if it were not burning.
Governor Kirk Fordyce has declared a state of emergency around that area because of toxic gases.
The key to any operation, not only a well control event, is organization. A tremendous amount of support is required to help reduce the safety hazards, environmental, and economic impacts of that event. Specialized equipment and personnel are an important aspect associated with that support. Operational guidelines, which will include debris removal, will allow access to the well and reduce hazards. Safety guidelines are always the focus of all well control operations. Careful planning is crucial to identifying risk associated with an event. Usually only 2 scenarios require capping operations to be performed with the well on fire. The first, of course, is an extreme environmental impact. The second is where effluent gases and fluids are detrimental to the personnel working around the area. Associated with this well, both of those concerns were identified. Capping the well on fire was predetermined. The systems that are used for oilfield firefighting are developed by oilfield firefighters. A lot of the equipment that you do see has been developed by firefighters from all over the world. There is a certain amount of modification that is made. The water sheds that we use, the high pumping equipment, the quickly assembled equipment is all part of being able to respond quickly and effectively to these incidents. The Athey wagon itself goes back to the logging days. Typically an Athey wagon, the track section of it was used to move heavy logs for lumbering. Somewhere along the line someone came up with the idea to put a boom on it and be able to handle loads out on the end of it. The Athey wagon in firefighting is used for debris removal. It can be used for cutting devices. It can also be used for demolitions. A lot of times people think that the fire itself is what's burning equipment. But realistically, it's the radiated heat. The heat loading that's associated with a fire is tremendous. A lot of times these wells are burning 3,000 to 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And it doesn't take long for steel to give to that type of a heat. What those tin sheds are for is a place for a man to get in behind to reduce some of that heat. It gives him a certain amount of mobility to be able to work in and around the well. Associated with this operation, debris removal will allow access to the well. A small part of this is moving the rig itself. Once the rig has been safely moved from the well, continuing operations will involve the well itself. Safety support people are always crucial to any operation. They're always monitoring the firefighters and support people on and off location.
Safety is #1 object of any operation. You got human lives on location. There's a lot of people involved in these type of jobs. Proper planning and having proper safety meetings every morning, and every time you're doing something different on a well like this, you need to get down and sit down with everybody and go over exactly what you're going to do so everybody understands and knows exactly what the operation consists of. Once the rig had been removed,
In this operation, the damaged BOPs must also be removed. It's important to know that these types of capping operations are very specialized. Only extreme measures require this type of an operation. Typically, one would think that all you would have to do is unbolt a set of BOPs and reinstall a set of BOPs. But under these volatile conditions, special care must be taken to allow systematic removal and installation of good equipment. Some of the specialized tooling we use is a Venturi tube. Associated with this Venturi tube is a set of work parameters. All operations should be performed as remotely as possible. Use of the Venturi tube allows firefighters access to the immediate area of the wellhead. It places the fire well above your head and creates a safe zone to work in. A lot of times, this zone gets increased around a wellhead due to the proximity of the fire. The abrasive jet cutter has evolved as one of the most useful tools in the firefighting industry. This involves pumping high-pressure sand and water through a nozzle which can be positioned to cut away an array of equipment from in and around the wellhead. Careful preparation must be considered when preparing to cap a well on fire. Specialized Kevlar protection must be enshrouded around the BOP to prevent its damage while capping the well. Basically, this type of operation involves a mechanical placement of a BOP system in the fire. Capping any well should require placement of a BOP stack or valving system in a manner that will not put any person in a hazardous condition. Throughout any well control operation, as you can see, the buddy system is employed. There's always someone looking over your shoulder, making sure that what is not visible is visible to someone else. Typically, human nature, we always want to fix these incidents as quickly as possible. Inevitably, what happens is that you have to use daylight operations. Daylight is the safest way to see what you're doing. You can employ all the lights you want at night, but it does not make for a safer operation. The reason for that is typically the noise levels are so high around these wells that you can't hear each other. So what you have to do is use hand signals. And typically at night you can't see those hand signals. And that's not to say that operations don't continue through the night. Typically, all your remedial efforts, your welding and your building of equipment and all of these measures take place at night. But during the daylight hours is when you're actually working on the well because the noise levels are so high that you have to use hand signals. Once this well had been capped, design of the well proved that shut-in was not possible. So the design of this capping stack allowed for 100% diversion of this well, thus putting the effluent flow out in a manageable pit system rather than straight up in the air.
Governor Fordyce has lifted an emergency evacuation order for a 1-mile radius near a burning gas well in Wayne County. The director of the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency says all evacuated residents may safely return home.
Surface intervention is a small part of a well control event. Well recovery operations help support the recovery measures required to produce a well. In this well, we had about 17,000 foot of drill pipe in the well. It contains 16.5-pound mud. During debris removal operations, parts of the drill pipe had to be removed to allow the well to be capped. Once capped, diversion methods were employed so that the well could be secured without being shut in. At that point, a drilling rig was moved in to allow access to the well bore, in which a snubbing unit was employed to allow tieback of the drilling string. Once the old Kelly had been cut and removed from the well and the drill pipe reconnected, a coil tubing unit was used to clean out all the debris from inside the drill pipe. Once the inside of the drill pipe had been cleaned, logs were run to determine where the flow was coming from in the well. From that information, a kill plan could be designed. Once designed, the drill pipe could be perforated and drilling mud circulated completely around the well, thus controlling all the pressures associated with this well. Once the drill pipe and the well had been killed, the drill pipe could be removed from the well and casing inspection logs run to determine what kind of detrimental effect the effluent flow had to the wellbore itself. At this point, additional footage was drilled so that we could turn this blowout well into a producing well.